Hi, everybody, from the Foxtown Weather Center. Chief Meteorologist Ian Leonard here. Look, it is 1:45, 1:46 in the morning. Promised that we'd stay over by, and it bears saying that meteorologist Erica Mrazek and meteorologist Cody Matz are with me in the Foxtown Weather Center. So, yes, it is a long night for Erica and myself and an early morning for Cody. Here's why. The latest from the Storm Prediction Center, there it is, a severe thunderstorm watch until 7 a.m., and it does include the Twin Cities Metro. We're watching this line of storms that has been marching off to the northeast from parts of Nebraska, the better part of the last 6 hours, and all along this line, we have a ribbon of severe thunderstorm warnings. Important to also note that along this line, we have had, or at least in the last hour, we have had storm reports in Lac Pearl County, wind gust at 81 miles per hour. So don't sleep on these just because they're severe thunderstorm warnings. I think the one thing you're also going to find is the linear nature of these storms. So you've got a line, it's advancing here to the northeast. Convective in nature. Look at lightning tracker pinging away as these storms just start to work into parts of southwestern Candiota County. So Pope and Stevens, severe thunderstorm warnings until 2:30. Chippewa and Swift, you're there until 2 a.m. This large block here that includes Candiota County, that's the severe thunderstorm warning for parts of Chippewa, Candiota, Renville, and Swift. As you look at this particular warning, you get a pretty good sense that it does have almost a curvature here off to the north and to the east. Gives you a really good indication that really what we're talking about are linear based storms. I won't rule out some large hail. Most of the charts, the better part of the day, pointing to this point of the evening, near 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. for the possibility. That's all it is. The possibility of, say, 2 3/4 inch size hail, winds at 60 to 80 miles per hour, and some very brief heavy rains bringing some localized flooding, or at least the possibility of all of that together. And look, we're barely in to the severe thunderstorm watch box. You look down here just as we turn the Minnesota River Valley, and I know you're looking at it, you're going, I can't see the Minnesota River Valley. There's the Minnesota River Valley running all the way down into Mankato. There's where it bends up and works adjacent to Highway 169 all the way into the Southwest Metro. Mankato in the thunder and the lightning right now, no warnings, but the thunder and the lightning stretches back along this very convective line all the way back to Grant, Stevens, Pope, and Douglas County. So that's the four right there, all along the river valley, and the convective nature of these storms and the very strong winds. Obviously, the reason we're on the air right now. Over the last 3 hours, there's the new watch, and we're actually starting to see a bunch of new cells pop. Now, you've probably heard me say this before, and when Cody and I talk a lot on the air, when you look at this line of storms, and there it is, we're going to look here. So I want you to think about this moving off to the north. Everywhere here on my right-hand side, we call these right movers. So everything down to this side of this line is going to start to peel off slowly. As it peels off slowly, it's going to roll into largely undisturbed air that is so very rich in all of our storm ingredients. The line will also stay intact and also push here. So I-94 all along here from Candiota, Meeker, McLeod County, all the way down into Sibley County, then Carver and Scott County, and back up to Wright and parts of Stearns County, and then back up to Grant, Pope, Stevens, and Douglas counties. Those are all the areas right here under the weather gun all over the next, say, 90 minutes. So the storms are moving. They have a decent forward clip, plus 30 miles per hour. That's forward speed. I mentioned Lac Pearl County also picking up the severe thunderstorm wind gust at over 80 miles per hour. That's in the last 30 minutes. So Cody Matz has joined us. I would expect arrival in the metro here. Now, this is always rule of thumb when we look at this. We're talking about these rolling about 30 plus miles per hour, rolling across a county, probably an hour. Thinking about into the metro here as we work through about between 3 and 4 a.m. So Metro, right now you are under the weather gun. And I know Danny is in master control with us. Danny, I don't know if you got a chance to set up microphones for Cody. I think we're good right now. Just something to think about here as we work through the next, 60 to 90 minutes. If I've never mentioned this lately, I try to every once in a while. We have some of the greatest technical staff behind the scenes, and they are also here with us. I think Jim Rich is also wandering around the building. He's looking for a card game. Isn't that right, Erica? Yeah, shit. Erica's napping, but that's okay. This line will continue to grow off to the north, but more importantly, these fresh cells here that are really just starting to move right now. So I'm going to just slide the map off to the south. Everything from Mankato stretching all the way across I-90. Those cells are all new here in the last 15 minutes, adding to everything else that will continue to move. And when we think about a big linear storm like this, and we start to move it out, this entire area here will continue to roll up the Minnesota River Valley. So Jordan, St. Peter, all the way here into, say, Shakopee, those are all next in line. In terms of storm dynamics, and there are plenty, the wind has been definitely not our friend so far with any of these storms as they continue to roll. So let's talk about the colors you see on the map here. So you begin to see the white. I also have some VIL here, some vertically integrated liquid, talking about how the storms create an updraft to keep the super cooled raindrops suspended in the storm so that they freeze and try and drop, freeze, try and drop, freeze, try and drop, and that's how hail, and that's how hail is born. That's how hail is created. I would look here for the strongest winds to be working in conjunction with the line of storms that is also very real here as we move forward in time. Cody, I know you just joined us and you're not mic'd up, but there's not a lot with these storms. I know you got a lot going, so.
No, there's not a lot.
There's not a lot. These are big wind makers. Like I said, don't sleep on these. We're talking winds at, say, 60 to 80 miles per hour. We are talking the possibility of some very large hail. And so the worst part about these storms, and I mentioned this earlier, the timing of these storms stinks. There's no other way to put it. Because, and I mentioned this on the late night news. I said, well, most people will be in bed. There's always one person that will email in, well, I'm not in bed, I'm working. And I know we're talking about most people, other than Erica, Cody, myself, Danny in Master Control, and Jim Rich. Every time I say his name, I expect him to come walking in the studio. So, yeah, there's 5 or 6 of us here in the station making sure that you know. So that line of storms is here and it bends all the way down. Candy-Ojai County, you're almost fully involved right now. Sibley County, the western portion of Sibley County, in the strongest portion of the storms, down into Blue Earth County, and now stretching over towards, say, Albert Lee. So soon, Owatonna and Faribault. From there, it is all about the Twin Cities Metro as we head closer to 3 a.m. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to regroup here. I've broken into programming, brought you up to date. The key here is to stay sky aware. And if you're up, hang with us and maybe get on the phone. And so you live in Sibley County, but you got some cousins that live in Meeker County and some cousins that live in Carver and Scott County. Give them a call. Let them know the big storms are rolling. Ian's got his sleeves rolled up. Cody and Erica are here. We're eating pizza, and we're hanging with you until these storms are finished. So I'm going to send you back to live programming, and we'll be back as these storms make an approach toward the Twin Cities Metro, edging closer to 3 a.m. But for now, Chief Meteorologist Ian Leonard. We'll talk to you in a bit.